أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فاستبق الباب وقدت قميصه من دبر وألف يا سيدها لدى الباب قالت ما جزاء من أراد بأهلك سوءا إلا أن يسجن أو عذاب أليم قال هي راودتني عن نفسي وشهد شاهد من أهلها إن كان قميصه قد من قبل فصدقت وهو من الكاذبين وإن كان قميصه قد من دبر فكذبت وهو من الصادقين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala now mentions about Yusuf Alayhis Salaam, that Zulaykha, the woman in whose house he was living, she tried to seduce him, to lure him. She shut the door, she called him towards evil. Immediately he remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he remembered the favors and the kindness of his master, and he remembered that he will be causing oppression to himself. He said, I'll never be successful if I have to commit this evil sin. And she certainly desired him, and Yusuf Alayhis Salaam, the thought did come in his mind. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed him certain proofs, and because of this here, his yaqeen, his iman was there. Allah is watching me. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removed from him all kinds of minor sins also and major sins. He was amongst the chosen servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, thereafter Yusuf Alayhis Salaam, he and the woman, they raced towards the door, and she tore his shirt from behind. She was running after him, she tore the shirt from him behind. And as they opened the door, they found her master or her husband by the door. So immediately Zulaykha, before this, the love she was expressing to Yusuf Alayhis Salaam, and how much she's got feelings for him, etc., all of this was forgotten. And this is the loyalty of people of the dunya. They don't have loyalty within themselves, that everyone is only looking to his own maqsad, to his own fulfillment of desires. So immediately now she got in trouble. So she said, what is the punishment of the person who intends evil with your family members, except that he must be imprisoned, or he must get a very painful penalty, a very painful punishment. So now she changed the whole story, that he is the one who is intending evil with your family. Yusuf Alayhis Salaam was shocked. On one side she wants to commit evil with him, he is trying to run away. And immediately now she comes and she says that no, Yusuf Alayhis Salaam is the one who wants to commit evil. So she made up a story. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through his kindness, Allah ta'ala protected Yusuf Alayhis Salaam. So Yusuf Alayhis Salaam, to prove his innocence, he didn't make any stories against her. He just said that it was she who tried to seduce me. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it such. وَشَهِدَ شَاهِدٌ مِنْ أَهْلِهَا, a witness from her family members attested. And they said, so who is this witness? So according to some ulama, it was an old person, Zulaykha's cousin, a fully grown wise man who mentioned this. The other ulama said no, that there was one infant belonging to someone in Zulaykha's family. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the child power and ability to speak. So this was a miracle in favor of Yusuf Alayhis Salaam. In Islamic history, there are many examples of people who spoke when they were in children. And many of these times when they spoke, which comes in the hadith of Nabi Alayhis Salaam, it was either one of two things. Either it was to testify to the innocence of somebody's chastity, his purity. So there's a few examples like that in the Islamic history. And the other reason why these children spoke sometimes was to give tasalli and to give happiness to their parents. Maybe they were going to be killed, thrown in the trench, burnt in the fire because of the iman. So the small child spoke and gave encouragement to the parents that don't worry, Ispiri, fa'innaki al-haq, you remain with sabr, you remain steadfast, you are on the truth, Allah Ta'ala's help and assistance is going to come to you. So anyhow, the child that spoke itself, this itself was a miracle and showed that Yusuf Alayhis Salaam was innocent. And on the other hand, the child, what a clear proof it gave, it showed which party was true. So the child, or this witness said, if the kurta and the shirt is torn from the back, is torn from the front, then she is speaking the truth and he is amongst the liars. That means Yusuf Alayhis Salaam is the one who tore it, and he was trying to interfere with her. But if the shirt is torn from the back, from behind, then she has lied and he is amongst the truthful people. فَلَمَّا رَأَى قَمِيصَهُ قُدَّ مِنْ دُبُرٍ قَالَ إِنَّهُ مِنْ كَيْدِكُنْ إِنَّ كَيْدَكُنَّ عَظِيمٌ. So when her husband, he saw the shirt was torn from behind, it was very clear now that Zulaykha was the guilty party and Yusuf Alayhis Salaam was the innocent one. So he said, إِنَّهُ مِنْ كَيْدِكُنْ, this is amongst your people's schemes of the woman folk. And إِنَّ كَيْدَكُنَّ عَظِيمٌ, your people's schemes are indeed very immense, very powerful, very strong. The evil plans you people do. Then he said, Yusuf, أَعْرِضْ عَنْ هَذَا, let this matter go. And then he told his wife, وَاسْتَغْفِرِي لِذَنبِكِ, oh my wife, beg forgiveness for your sin, ask Yusuf Alayhis Salaam to make you maaf, you've done wrong. إِنَّكِ كُنْتِ مِنَ الْخَاطِئِينَ, verily you are amongst the sinners, you are amongst the wrongful people. So here Yusuf Alayhis, it showed that the husband wasn't a person of a lot of khairat, of a lot of self-honor. He had to also on one side see now, it was a serious issue, and it could damage his whole career. That's more important. My career is more important. And if my wife's name is implicated in a scandal that she is running and going after my slave, on the one side he loved Yusuf Alayhis Salaam, he couldn't let him go. So then he wanted to give his wife another chance. He said, just ask him for maaf. And he said, Yusuf Alayhis Salaam, you also forget this whole thing. If Yusuf Alayhis Salaam didn't tell the people the story, then this wouldn't have gone out, and maybe his wife could change her ways, so the whole matter could be repaired. There wouldn't be a scandal in the house. So anyhow, this is what he did. So he's a person of also less khairat. Otherwise, if a person knows something like this happened to his wife, he would never have allowed Yusuf Alayhis Salaam to remain there. So the ulama say from here, the one lesson we learn is that we must try to have taqwa according to the best of our ability. فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ, as much as is possible. Zulaykha had a whole trap laid out for Yusuf Alayhis Salaam. It seemed impossible for him to escape. But Yusuf Alayhis Salaam, it was in her palace, all her beauty, adornment, authority. The doors were locked. And Allahu Alam, according to some ulama, when Yusuf Alayhis Salaam ran to the door, Allah Ta'ala miraculously opened the door. According to others, Zidani Rahman, it's possible she left the keys on the door also. Yusuf Alayhis Salaam just turned the key and tried to run out, and then they found a minister standing by that side. Allah knows best. But Yusuf Alayhis Salaam knew, I have to run away, and we must do what is within our power, what's within our ability, to not to break the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah ta'ala will look after the rest of the rest. So this is one point they thought that they have mentioned. The second point they have mentioned is that one evil always comes with another evil. Zulaykha had to commit another evil to escape the position she had put herself in. Now she had to attack the honor of an innocent person. First she had done wrong, and now she was just to move the blame from herself. She was prepared to see him jailed or even punished. So every guna and sin leads a person towards another sin. Urwa ibn Zubair radiallahu anhu says, when you see somebody having performed a good deed, then know that this deed of his has got sisters, other good deeds like it. And each deed brings and pulls the person towards another good deed. And when you see somebody committing an evil, then know that definitely he's also got sisters for this evil here. Because one evil leads a person towards another evil. So when a person falls into one sin, then it leads a person towards another sin. So this is one thing. And Ibn Qayyim rahmatullah alayhi has mentioned a similar thing. You see, one sin creates the next sin, and the next sin goes to the next sin, and this is how it completely destroys a person. On the other hand, good deeds, when a person does some good deeds, then it pulls towards good other deeds. And some of the Salaf Salihin have mentioned that part of the reward of a good deed is a good deed which follows after it, and part of the punishment of a sin is the misdeed which follows, the sin which follows thereafter. So therefore, the ulama say that even if a person cannot do very good, strong deeds, but a person must do small deeds, simple deeds, inshallah, the simple deeds will bring the big deeds into a person's life. And we must also try to abstain from small sins. We say it's only a small sin, but where eventually leads a person to. And the last point the ulama have mentioned is that Yusuf Alayhis Salaam did all the right things, and when he was accused, he just simply mentioned what the woman had done. He didn't speak too much of his innocence. He never go into lengthy details of his piety and his struggles. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala eventually provided the proof of his innocence. So those who normally go against boundaries, they break the rules, they are the ones normally you have to make a lot of excuses, justification for their gunas and their sins. And the people who are innocent, they just mention very simply their innocence or whatever. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala normally looks after them. And in amazing ways, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protects a person's innocence, and Allah ta'ala uses miraculous means sometimes to show the innocence of a person. So we must try to remain pure, try to remain chaste, and be amongst the good people with ikhlas and sincerity, and see how Allah ta'ala's help and assistance will come to a person. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us true understanding. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi.